Welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Malicious Compliance Reddit video. This is less malicious compliance than anal retentive compliance, but I kept my job and the villain got punished. I hope you enjoy it. Some years ago, I got a job tankering a barge. A barge is basically a floating container that gets towed around port to port. Tankering means to load it with fuel or whatever product you carry and discharge it at another port. There were two other tankermen, but we worked 4 weeks on, 2 weeks home. So in my 4 weeks, I'd work 2 weeks with one of the tankermen, then 2 weeks with the other. I was pretty new to tankering, but I'd been working on boats for a few years and enjoyed it. There was little I liked more than getting on a ratty, rusty boat and chipping rust and painting until the boat was looking sharp, but I was a novice tankerman. And this boat was not looking sharp. Rust everywhere, storerooms a mess, dirty inside and out. The two other tankermen were of the opinion they were tankermen only, meaning they did nothing but tanker the barge, despite their job titles being deckhand tankermen. They felt chipping and painting was beneath them and did no other work. Both of them were from down south, one a Cajun I'll call Gumbo and a guy from Mobile I'll call Darnell. From my first trip, they both took a dislike to me. Darnell mostly because he was lazy and just wanted to hang out on the stern and fish. Once I started busting butts around the ship, he knew he had to start doing something and he didn't like that. Gumbo, however, he really hated me. He considered himself barge captain, a title that didn't exist except in his mind, and saw me as a threat to his imaginary throne by, gasp, improving things. It wasn't just the boat. I got all the old load plans out of the places they were cramming them, organized them by fuel amount and put them in a binder. That way when the customer said, please load 68,840 barrels for us, I would flip to the closest previous load to that amount and we would see how much to put in each tank to match the amount. As a result, loads started getting closer and closer to the requested amount, making the customer happy. Gumbo and Darnell tended to just wing it, but being new, I was a little anal retentive about doing it properly. When I am in unfamiliar territory, I tend to be anal retentive to the point of OCD to make sure I get it right. Also, I really did not want an oil spill on my watch. This went on for months, me getting more and more comfortable with tankering and annoying the other two by organizing storerooms, cleaning and organizing lockers, and generally making the boat a better place. Hell, I was even cooking. Strangely, there weren't too many accolades coming my way, and thanks to the assistant engineer, Jim Bob, I found out why. You see, when Big Boss would come, it would tend to be when I was home. Gumbo and Darnell were bad-mouthing me behind my back, harping on my lack of experience, magnifying small errors, and concerned trolling that they were just trying to be safe. Even worse, all the changes I made, they took credit for. It wasn't Five Frog cleaned out the paint locker, it was, we got the paint locker cleaned out. Jim Bob often worked extra hitches and was a witness to everything. Jim Bob was a good guy, but from a poor town in Louisiana, dropped out of high school at 15 and was functionally illiterate. His illiteracy kept him from advancing, and as he was the only crew member to befriend me, I helped him out with his job, showing him all kinds of tips to streamline things, like putting an Excel spreadsheet on his work computer that allowed him to quickly track and monitor fuel and lube use. After a while, he began relaying to me what was happening behind my back. His exact words, "You and I are like brothers, so I say to you as a brother, they're out to get you." I kind of figured this was going on as they had both begun to play the passive-aggressive game we in the industry call playing flip-flip, so I knew I was odd man out. About this time, one of the barge's pumps went out, and the first thing the mechanic said was it was due to lack of maintenance, meaning tankermen weren't lubing, oiling, or greasing the pumps. At crew change, Big Boss came down to chew us all out, and like a fool, I said I had no idea we were supposed to do these things. Naturally, 100% of the blame came down on me for this, and my response was humility, asking what needed to be done. Big Boss made out a maintenance plan that the pumps would be serviced every 2 weeks, to be done by the tankerman returning with a log of the work done to be completed. After what Jim Bob told me, I decided to adhere to compliance to the point of obsession. I would know those pumps so well I could teach a course on them. As I had just returned that day, I went full-on OCD, doing every check, measurement, fluid level twice, and logging it all. I asked Jim Bob what kind of grease and how many squirts to use. I counted the squirts and logged them. He had all the grease, so I had to get it from him. I logged all of my maintenance in the logbook. Not only that, Jim Bob had all the grease in the engine room, so I had to get it from him. I logged that too. 1 tube, marine grade, 2345, whatever. Jim Bob and I also went over the pump with a fine-toothed comb and found every one of the grease points. I added that list to the maintenance log. Funnily, I noticed that whenever I came back, the logbook, which was really just a handful of pages set aside in a crappy notebook we kept in the crew area, hadn't been updated since I'd left. It occurred to me I was the whipping boy. Gumbo and Darnell really thought they had me where they wanted me, and they didn't do flip all on the barge. Months later, one of the other barges had a minor fire, due to overheating, about 3 days before I was supposed to arrive. The company hired a third party to check all maintenance fleet-wide, and ours didn't do well. Big Boss came down with notes to ensure we were following the protocol he laid down. Big Boss asked if we'd been doing the required maintenance. At this point, I'd been flipped by these guys for over a year and had calmly practiced my response to any question. When Big Boss asked if we'd been following the protocol, I replied that I did it within a day of my arrival every 6 weeks. Darnell mentioned that the pumps were so dry when he arrived, it looked like they ain't been greased in months. I replied that I could guarantee they'd been greased at least once every 6 weeks, as I was the one that greased them. Then Darnell made the mistake of saying something that set the whole situation aflame. Okay, well, if you say you've been doing maintenance, okay, they just look to me like they're starved for oil. I get them the day I get back every time. I even log my work. Do you? Log it where? Where do you log it? I ain't never got a request to log anything. In the maintenance log Big Boss requested months ago. What? What log is that? The logbook tended to be ignored by the other two, and usually when I got back, it was buried under newspapers and porno mags. I walked up to the tray underneath the TV and pulled it out. I casually flipped to the maintenance log section and showed them the places I had logged the work I'd done. As an added bonus, I actually started an entry for the next guy, so all he had to do was fill in numbers. Stuff like name, date serviced, hours run, oil amount added, and the filters changed, yes or no. Naturally, it was all blank. As an added bonus, I had made sure to not wash my hands before log entries, so I couldn't be accused of pencil whipping due to the greasy fingerprints. I sat quietly while Big Boss, Gumbo, Darnell, and the captain read the maintenance log, consisting of my entries and my entries only. Me and Jim Bob just watched each other expressionless. Both Gumbo and Darnell tried to cover for each other, claiming they'd seen the other doing the required maintenance, but Big Boss was no dummy. Where'd you get the grease and filters from? I see no record of transfer from the engine room to the barge. Darnell said, well, we get the grease from Jim Bob all the time. I've asked for at least 4 or 5 tubes, ain't I, Jim Bob? All eyes on Jim Bob. Jim Bob did the most amazing thing. Scowling at Darnell, he stood up, threw his coffee cup in the trash, and walked the 20 feet to his cabin. The slamming of the door was like a judge's gavel coming down. I took the dark path. Big Boss, I am sorry for any problems. After what happened in April, I have been obsessed with ensuring the pumps were properly maintained on my watch. I am happy to show you where all 17 grease points are and my routine for servicing them. I know the pumps backwards and forwards at this point. Five Frog, that won't be necessary. I've seen all I need to. He snapped the logbook shut and told the captain, "We'll talk later," and disembarked the vessel without another word. There's no sexy ending here. Gumbo got transferred to the punishment boat, the worst boat or barge in the fleet, and got written up for arguing with that captain on his first goddamn hitch, last I heard. We got a new tankerman, bizarrely a cousin of Darnell's, but I was pretty confident at this point and took the lead in training him. Darnell was an always be on the winning team kind of a guy and let me take the lead. We wound up with a pretty good crew, hard-working, hard-partying, just how I like it. When they hired a new captain, he was a guy that had come up with Big Boss, which is why he got the job. And he told Big Boss, you know, Five Frog is about the only guy worth a crap on here. I still have the evaluation he wrote for me. It's on my darn LinkedIn page. This is John from /Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, now is the time to subscribe. I would love for you to drop a like, share with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one.